You know, it's really crazy. So many people today, they don't believe in the youth. They think they're all mixed up and all they want to do is play video games. I think the youth really get it. And I think when we start to teach them or show them how they can make improvements in this world, look out. It's going to be amazing. They're going to grab a ball and take it and run. Hi there. Neil here, the Twisted Light Worker. Yeah, the youth getting it. No surprise to me. This video I'm going to cover a number of things, a paradigm shift. We'll put a new frame around the picture of how we view things. I had to make a big paradigm shift a year ago at the end of December. I became a grandpa for the first time. Yeah, here I am, a grandpa. And that really hit me in a strange way because I started my own children late in life. My first one was born when I was 30. And now I've got my youngest girl, 34. She had her first child and made me a grandpa. So now I've got a paradigm shift going on big time. And that's kind of what this is all about. We have to reframe the way we look at life and the way we look at the things around us. There's some surprising things. I've always believed in the youth. I've believed in the youth for a long time. And we have this misconception that technology is making us antisocial. But let's look in not that many years ago, people taking the trolley to work. There we were. Reading the newspaper, not talking, antisocial. We've been antisocial for a long time, and that's part of the programming that's been taking place. We've been literally MK programmed in the mildest form. I've studied ancient metaphysics, Toltec, various forms of spirituality, meditation courses for some 45 years, so I have a real deep understanding of some metaphysical principles and the art of alchemy and how thoughts create a reality. So hopefully this video is going to give you a fresh way of looking at the situation in the world that it is today. Absolutely. Tech is not making us antisocial whatsoever. And 6 years ago, I made a video, a number of videos actually, and I've been on this path of loving the youth for a long time. It was 6 years ago I made this video called I Love Millennials and Generation X. People thought I was crazy when I put that up. I'm not crazy whatsoever. The youth today, they see that the world is all mixed up. And people think that they're lazy. No, they're just looking at the reality. They go to school, come out of university with a degree, and then they have to get a job at Walmart or McDonald's because there's no jobs in what they've been trained for. So why bother? And then they do get a job, and it's hard to get a job where their pay is high enough to barely get above rent payment. So they're still living in mom and dad's basement. Why? Because they can't afford anything else. It's a paradigm shift. I believe in them. I believe in the youth. The youth of today are going to rock this planet when we get through the changes that are coming forth very soon. And it's exciting times that we're living in. Very, very exciting times. So yeah, I love millennials, Generation X, and whatever other bottom line is I love all the people. And my favorite people are the ones that are from 48, 49, maybe to 50, but all the way down to 20. That's the age group where you have the most energy to actually get things done. And those of us who are older, we have to tap into that youthful energy ourselves and make that paradigm shift and keep up the hard work, because it's up to us to usher in the new world. And it's all part of the reframing process that's going on. I want you to listen to a video now of a young girl that's proof that the youth are getting it. I wish I knew who she was. I found the video on Telegram, and they had cut off where it came from. So I don't know if it was on Instagram or TikTok or what. And I don't know this young lady's name. And if you happen to know where to reach her, please do me a huge favor. Put it in the comments below this video, and I will add it to the comments in the description, so that anybody can find her after this, because she's on the ball. She's got it together. So here she is.
I, too, was quite liberal during my college years, as we all are. I mean, American institutions are essentially left-wing indoctrination camps, and we know this to be true. You go in, you are inundated with left-wing orthodoxy, and you exit much more liberal than before. We all know this to be true. But then I started thinking, I started noticing many inconsistencies. Why does the media say that he hates the middle class when he established the largest middle class tax cuts in history, when the median middle class income was up $5,000? Why do they say he hates gay people when he wanted to decriminalize homosexuality worldwide? He has gay weddings all the time at Mar-a-Lago, and he was the only president in US history to enter office having a pro-gay marriage position. Not the Bidens, not Obamas, not Clintons, no, Trump. Why do they claim he's some kind of racist when those claims had never been made before he ran for president? And then he's only ever accomplished wonderful things for minorities. Lowest ever poverty rates for Asian Americans, Black Americans, Latino Americans, and women. Highest ever employment rates for women, Latino Americans, Black Americans, Asian Americans. Why do the same celebrities who used to fawn over him, love him, adore him, suddenly think that he's the Antichrist? I'm talking Oprah, Ellen, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Mika from MSNBC. They all loved him, and then suddenly they're instructed that he's literally Satan. I'm thinking, if censorship is used to control people and control the narrative, why did they ban the president from Twitter for 2 years, from Instagram for 2 years, from YouTube for 2 years, from Twitter for 2 years? Why did Twitter and Facebook then censor and shadow ban conservative accounts? I'm thinking, why did Twitter censor the Hunter Biden laptop story? Why did legacy media nearly uniformly post negatively about him for 8 consecutive years? So things are shady, and then they use lawfare against him. Lawfare is legal warfare. It's an attempted legal assassination. They weaponize the Department of Justice against the sitting president of the United States. That's never been done before in United States history. They drummed up a bunch of BS charges from some simple paperwork misfiling, one of them, and they turned it into 34 felonies, and they couldn't even go after him because the statute of limitations had run out. So a bunch of lawyers in New York who literally hate him changed the New York law so that they could prosecute him through a legal loophole. Most insane story ever. Meanwhile, they let the Clintons and Bidens off scot-free for genuine criminal behavior. So everything thus far is a lie, and then you listen to his press conferences for 30 minutes, the full 30 minutes, the full hour, and then you go on MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, and somehow they've spun his words around into the polar opposite of what he said. It's like I just saw him deliver a wonderful speech, and now the New York Times is tweeting that he said something horribly discriminatory? What? I mean, a good example of this is the Very Fine People hoax. He explicitly condemned hate groups, explicitly condemned them, and then all the headlines were, Trump condones these terrorist organizations. What? That is the polar opposite of what he did. And then you wonder how they can say he's money hungry and selfish when he refused a salary while in office. Meanwhile, his career politician counterparts are getting richer and richer and richer and richer by the hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they tell all women, they fearmonger them into thinking that there's going to be an abortion ban. Meanwhile, his policy is very clear that he would never enact one. He would veto one if one was enacted. He's always supported the 3 exceptions. And then they fearmonger women into thinking that people are being prosecuted for having miscarriages. Not one woman in the United States has ever been prosecuted for having a miscarriage, and that story about the Ohioan woman was a complete and utter hoax. She was prosecuted for charges completely unrelated to abortion. And then you keep digging and you wonder why the New York Times posted photos of children in cages saying that that was Trump's doing. Meanwhile, those photos were proven to be taken in 2014 under Obama. And then you wonder why Newsweek falsely reported that Trump was in Florida golfing during Thanksgiving when he was literally in Afghanistan serving dinner to troops. So they say he hates every single demographic, even though he's helped literally every demographic. They say he's a woman hater. They compare him to an evil, murderous dictator. They censor him on every platform. They lie about his policies. They try to falsely imprison him, and then they try to kill him. in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then one can only help but wonder, why is all of liberal orthodoxy backed by the mainstream media, academia, every celebrity, Hollywood, legacy media, social media, every American institution? Why are we being fed this narrative over and over and over and over when it directly contradicts the truth at every turn? And then I realized conservatives are the resistance. Conservatives are resisting against the big government machine. I mean, when you tune out the narrative, the pieces start coming together. It feels like you've been in the Truman Show. The damn Truman Show. Everything's a false reality. The reality comes down and you see things for what it is. And then you realize just how deep the corruption goes. That is just the tip of the iceberg. People are raging against the big government, dissent-free, uniparty machine. It's a movement.
See what I mean? She's got it together. She covered the whole gamut of everything that's really been taking place on the political scene. She never got into the dumbs and the human trafficking and things like that, but she did make the comment that it's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, but she had an incredible talk, and she's really got a lot of information in that talk. So reframing, how can we really get past the reframing nonsense? Let me show you something that I put up on Facebook page before they took me down 7 years ago, I think now. Time flies. Yeah, I'm a grandpa already. Anyways, text frame. Look at this. All these girls and young girls are all sitting there looking at their text. Don't fall for the trap in thinking it's a crime to communicate with real human via technology. Anyone who tells you this is a crime is full of bull. Mainstream pop propaganda wants the youth to read mainstream media rather than to communicate with real people via text or social media. They want them to follow the established rules of an ancient society of the past. 3 cheers for the youth. When they realize it's in their hands to actually change the world for the better, they will amaze us all. Only 3 things wrong with texting and social media. Social media censorship. Some of those some of those media outlets, they censor everything. Censorship is another form of dumbing down the population, and the police state in making Facebook, YouTube, and Google are all the worst, as we all know. Texting while driving, don't do it. That's the second thing that's wrong with texting and social media. The third thing that's wrong is avoiding work, best friends, and family when you're physically with them. Nothing that really annoys me when they're out with their friends and family and they're looking at themselves and not talking to the people they're with. That does annoy this guy. But here's another one that I posted on Facebook a way back. Look at this. These 2 boys are playing with their phones, and there's this naked girl with a newspaper there. And here's a reframing there. That is such a terrible waste to see. She is reading the paper and getting programmed with all that controlled propaganda. No wonder the lads are paying attention, or not paying any attention to her. She's behaving like a sheeple. Some of these posts are on the fringe of being controversial, the way I'm putting it. But the bottom line is it's a different way to see things. We have to reframe our world, and we have to learn that that's what thinking is. Being able to come up with a new paradigm shift other than the norm, rather than following the crowd. We don't want to have a herd mentality. We want to be able to step out and think for ourselves. None of this herd mentality. It's such a waste. It's such a waste. The problem isn't that many people can't read or think. The problem is that many people don't know what thinking is. They confuse it with feeling. Boy, is that ever a truth. That is a truth. A lot of people thought that Trump was going to go to war. I didn't believe he was. Way back 7-8 years ago, I had this posted on Facebook. World peace or greater understanding. I want you not to send your kids to war. War is barbaric. And that is absolutely a fact, and everybody knows that war is barbaric. I'm going to keep this one quite short because I gave you more information than what it first appears to be. It's all about seeing the world with a new paradigm and new eyes, making a shift of consciousness. You see, mankind is making that shift where we're elevating our consciousness. We're elevating that consciousness and becoming more aware of the dream of the planet. Now, the dream of the world is of the ego, and that's what we're programmed in. And we're caught up into believing that the only thing that matters is making sure we have food on the table and our own four walls are looked after. That's part of the programming of the evil ones. They've kept us dumbed down and numbed down. Get up, go to work, come home, watch the boob tube. We have to realize there's a whole lot more to life than that. And those of us who are awake, truly awake, we're getting up off the couch and doing things. Those who are aware, they're addicted to podcasts. See a previous video watch a previous video I did called, what's the next step? What is the next step? And the next step is to get up off the couch. Waking up the lions is very difficult. Waking up the sheep is one thing, and that's the sheep are the ones who are still wearing masks and still believing mainstream news. They're the ones that are very much asleep. And then there's those who are aware. We'll talk about them in a second. But the ones who are awake, they're not only aware of the corruption, they're not only aware of some of the things that need to be done, they roll up their sleeves, get to work, and do things in their own backyard. Watch that video. Watch that video. But those who are aware, they're all addicted to a new crime they're addicted to. They're waiting for 𝓱𝓮𝓻𝓸𝓭𝓾 to put money in their bank account. They're sitting back, watching podcasts. They've become addicted to that as their entertainment. So watch that video that I just mentioned. What's the next step? What's the next step? So war is barbaric, and the millennials, the children, the youth of today, like I said, the ones from 20 to 45, 20 to 50, they're the ones that have the most energy. They're still in their prime production years. They're the ones that are going to make the biggest difference in the world. So it's time for us who are awake to start guiding them into things that they can do to make a difference. It's not going to be an easy trip because they're caught up in that rut. But we can nudge them forward. And the best way to do it is be an example. Roll up your sleeves, get up off the couch, and be awake. Be a lion. Don't be aware and sitting there being programmed by podcasts and waiting for the situation to improve because of the white hats or Trump or somebody else. No, it's you and I. Those who are awake, we know better. We get up off the couch and we do things. But those who are sleeping, we have to help them become aware. And those who are aware, we have to wake up the lions and help them get off the butt and do something in their own neighborhood to make a difference. 2030 will be our agenda. The globalist agenda has failed and flopped right on their butt. How soon will we get everything flying where we will thrive and be happy? How soon? That depends on how many people become lions and get up off the couch and do something. That is where we are at, folks. That's the new paradigm. That's the new frame around the picture that we have to put it right into our heart and do something. So the youth, I've believed in them for years. They're the ones that are going to make the biggest difference. And those of us who are at the closer to the senior years of our lives, we're the lampposts. We're the lighthouse. We have to shine the light. We have to shine the light for them to see what they can do. And how can we do that? Just like you said, you can't tell them. You have to show them. So we have to get up off the couch, rejuvenate our energy flow, get back up into vitality, and make something happen right in your own backyard. That's where we're at, folks. That's the shift that we're really facing. Those of us who are awake, we have to shine our light bright. We have to shine it at 1,000 watts. Watch my video on Love is Like a Light Bulb. That's enough for this video. I hope this will put a new way for you to look at the youth of today. They are the ones that are going to make the biggest difference. So let's light their way. Let's light up their path so they can't miss it. Let's light up their path so bright that they can't miss it, and watch them run. So I leave each and every one of you with a wish from the bottom of my heart. And a thank you for the coffees who have bought. You have the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's in the description down below. Other links are always in the descriptions below my videos. I hope you take time to peruse them, because some other good gems are always found there. And from the bottom of my heart, once again, with all the love of the universe, the love of creative source that's in every single cell of my body, right to the tips of my DNA, into the two strands of the telomeres and the end of my DNA, imbued with the power of creative source. That deep, I wish you and yours peace profound. Yep, I wish you and yours peace profound.